Women looking for love, instead trapped and attacked by a man who they say seemed normal. 3 victims so far and counting. Fox News' Jessica Dupek is live now with one woman's terrifying story. Jessica.
Well, the suspect here is being held on a $1 million bond. And Roop, you know they don't hand those out easy anymore. Police say that speaks to how dangerous this guy is.
I definitely thought I wasn't going to survive, like, at all. I never thought I was ever going to make it out of there. It was to the point where I started praying and things of that nature. And when he found out that I was praying and when he heard me whisper God, he was like, you believe in God? You believe in God? I knew that he had did this to multiple women prior. I just had a feeling like you had to do this before because he was too comfortable.
Jakayla Archie was just 27 years old when she decided to try something that millions of people do every single day. She downloaded Facebook dating, made a profile, and started swiping. Nothing unusual about that, right? In 2025, online dating is completely normal. It is how a lot of people meet. It is how a lot of relationships start. So when Jakayla matched with a man named Don Neil Darren Sandra Jones around the holiday season, she had absolutely no reason to think anything was wrong. He was 31. He lived on the east side of Detroit, on a street called Elmdale. And from everything she could see, he seemed like a regular guy. They talked online for about a month. Consistent conversations, nothing strange, nothing that made her feel uncomfortable. And slowly, the way it happens with most people when they're getting to know someone new, she started to feel comfortable. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever been at that point with someone you met online, where the conversations have been going well for a few weeks, and you think to yourself, okay, this person seems genuine? You are not 100% sure yet, but nothing has given you a reason to worry. So you take the next step. You agree to meet. That is exactly where Jakayla was. After about a month of talking, they started meeting in person at his home. They would listen to music, watch movies, just spend time together. Casual, low pressure. And every single time, she left feeling fine. There were no warning signs. No moments where something fell off. He was calm, he was kind, and he gave her zero reason to think she was in any danger. And that right there is what makes this case so deeply unsettling. Because sometimes the danger does not look like danger at all. Sometimes it looks like someone you've been getting to know, someone you have laughed with, someone whose home you have sat in more than once and felt completely okay. Jakayla even said herself when she came forward to speak about what happened to her. She compared him to Ted Bundy, not because he looked scary or acted strange, but because up until the night everything changed. She had never seen any other version of him. The person she met online and the person she had been visiting were the same person in her mind. And then one night, without warning, she met someone completely different. Now here's what I want you to hold on to as we go deeper into this story. The question is not why Jakayla trusted him. That part makes complete sense. The question is, how does someone hide that level of darkness so completely, for so long, from someone they're spending real time with? And what does that say about the platforms we are using to meet people every single day? Because Facebook dating, like most dating apps, does not run background checks. There is no system in place that would have flagged Don Neil Sandra Jones before Jakayla matched with him. No warning, no alert, just a profile, some photos, and a conversation that felt normal. We're going to come back to that, because it matters more than most people realize. But first, let's talk about the night of January 20th, 2026, because that is the night Jakayla Archie came within inches of losing her life. It was around 7 in the evening when she arrived at his home on Elmdale Street, just like she had done before. She walked in the same way she always had. No reason to feel nervous. No reason to think this night would be any different from the ones before it. But at some point that evening, something shifted. Prosecutors say Sandra Jones was intoxicated. And whatever triggered him that night, whether it was something she said, something he was feeling, or simply the monster that had been hiding beneath the surface finally coming out, he snapped. He grabbed a knife, and he stabbed Jakayla in the throat. Take a second with that. She was not a stranger to him at this point. She was someone he had been talking to for weeks. Someone who had trusted him enough to come to his home more than once. And he stabbed her in the throat and told her, "And I am going to keep this clean for you," that he would end her life. Now she is standing there, bleeding from her neck, in a man's private home, with no one around to help her. No witnesses. No neighbors who knew she was there. Just her and him and a knife. This is the part of the story where most people would freeze. And honestly, who could blame them? But Jakayla did something in that moment that took incredible presence of mind. She kept herself together. Because she understood, even in the middle of that nightmare, that if she lost control of her emotions, she might not make it out. What happened next is something straight out of a horror film. Sandra Jones forced Jakayla to drive him around Detroit at knife point. She was bleeding. She was terrified. And she had no choice but to follow his orders as he sat beside her, yelling threats, telling her what he would do to her if she did not comply. He also smashed the windows of her car during this time. So now she is driving through the city, injured, with shattered glass around her, being controlled by a man with a weapon. And here is something that really stayed with me when I was researching this case. At some point during that drive, while she was trying to stay calm and stay alive, Jakayla started to pray quietly. She was whispering to God. And when Sandra Jones heard her, his response was not silence. It was not indifference. He turned to her and mocked her faith. He heard her whispering and said, "You believe in God?" That detail alone tells you everything you need to know about who this man is. Hours passed. They drove to multiple locations. And eventually, they ended up back at his home on Elmdale Street. He ordered her inside, and for a while, she had no choice but to stay. But then something happened. He got distracted. He got on a phone call. And that was the window Jakayla needed. She grabbed her keys. And she ran. She got out of that house, got away from him, and called 911. And that single decision, that one moment of courage while she was bleeding and exhausted and had every reason to give up, is the reason she is alive today to tell this story. She later said, and this hit hard, that the whole time she was thinking about her mother, she was thinking about what would have happened to her body if she had not made it out.
Just really was thinking, like, that I'm glad that I made it out alive, because my mother, what he would have did with my body if I didn't make it out that night. And it was just so scary for me. And then I felt like I was just alone.
Last year around the holidays, Archie decided to give Facebook dating a try and match with 31-year-old Detroit resident Danielle Darren Sandridge Jones. After chatting online for about a month, she says they started going out and met up a few times at his home on Elmdale Street in Detroit.
Listen to music, watch movies and stuff like that, just casual dating. And he went to go get the knife and he stabbed me in my throat and he cut me, and then he told me, I'll kill you.
The Wayne County Prosecutor's Office says Archie was stabbed multiple times and then was allegedly forced to drive the suspect around to multiple locations.
He's yelling like, keep driving, you want me to kill you, I don't want no one to feel that it's embarrassing to go through domestic violence, or, don't be embarrassed about anything, it happens.
That is the level of fear she was carrying in those hours, and yet she still found a way to survive. Now I need you to sit with something for a moment. Jakayla was not his first victim, and that is the part of the story that should make every single one of us stop and think very carefully. Prosecutors revealed that Sandra Jones had attacked 2 other women before Jakayla. 2 other women he met through Facebook dating. 2 other women he brought to that same home on Elmdale Street. The first attack happened in March of 2025, when he allegedly threw a brick at a woman's vehicle, and then threw a second one that hit her directly in the face. The second attack happened in July of 2025, where he physically assaulted another woman while armed with a knife and destroyed her property. 3 women, 3 attacks, the same platform, the same home, across 10 months. And here's the question I really need you to think about. If the system had worked the way it should have, could Jakayla's attack have been prevented? Because the March case had already been sent to prosecutors before Jakayla was ever hurt. The July case was not sent until after her attack, which means somewhere in that gap, the ball was dropped, and a 27-year-old woman paid the price for it. This is why reporting matters. This is why we have to take these cases seriously the moment they happen, and not after another person gets hurt. Now, let's talk about the platform itself. Because Facebook dating, like most dating apps, does not require a background check. Tinder does not. Hinge does not. Bumble does not. These companies allow anyone to create a profile and start connecting with people regardless of their criminal history. Sandridge Jones had a pattern of violence against women he met online, and yet nothing stopped him from continuing to use the platform to find his next victim. And this is not just about one app or one man. A major investigation found that some of the biggest dating platforms had repeatedly failed to remove users who had been reported for serious offenses. The infrastructure simply is not there to protect people the way it should be. So what does that mean for you if you're using these apps right now? It means the responsibility of safety, unfortunately, still falls heavily on us as users. Always meet in a public place for the first several dates. Tell someone you trust exactly where you are going and who you are meeting. Share the person's profile and photos with a friend before you go. Never feel pressure to go to someone's private home before you truly know them. And always have your own way to get home. Now, before we close out today, I want to leave you with something to think about, because this case goes deeper than just one man and one platform. Why we find it so easy to trust someone we have never truly met in person. What is it about online conversation that creates such a strong sense of safety and familiarity? And if someone can hide that level of danger for weeks while spending real time with another person, what does that say about how well we actually know the people in our lives? These are not easy questions, but they are necessary ones. Jakayla Archie survived. She came forward. She spoke publicly not because it was easy, but because she did not want another woman to go through what she went through. She said herself, "Do not be embarrassed. It happens. And the only way we stop it from happening is by talking about it." So share this. Talk about it. Because awareness is the first step toward protection. And someone in your circle might need to hear this story today.